birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear. Happy birthday to you.
My will is unbreakable. My mind is unshakable. It's unmistakable. I'm unbreakable. My hands are untrainable. My mind is unshakable. It's unmistakable. I'm unbreakable.
We got a very similar pitch today as what I did when I started doing door knocking. But I'm looking for homes that are at least 10 years old. You can tell if they've had their windows replaced or not. If they have, if they're still just a really poor quality, I'm gonna knock on the door anyways.
Now, one of the most important things in sales, you have to keep your eyebrows under control. I've seen this little window company grow from just me by myself to being a multi-million-dollar company with close to 100 people. And a lot of times people don't believe me how fast it's happened. They picture this happening over a period of 10 to 15 years. It's just been 4 years.
We're here to talk about how inflation is impacting local businesses is Jefferson Rogers, CEO of JKR Windows.
If you guys don't know who he is, he's out there. He's got a freaking successful business making millies, built it from scratch.
You started knocking on doors. The model for window sales is door knocking. You were not afraid to do what you had to do to create your future, and it shows.
We did $1 million the first year, $2 million the second year. We grew by 500% in the third year and produced a total of close to $40 million in revenue.
Said before and now, there's like a big polarizing difference. We got a glimpse of what you're doing now. Take us in the past of like, who were you maybe 8 years ago?
Jefferson K.
Living the way that I was before I ever started doing anything productive with my life, I had developed a lot of habits that just kept repeating themselves over and over and over.
Jefferson and I met in 2009. Yeah, he pursued me. I kissed him the first night. I did. Yep. I already had a son, and when he called me to hang out the next day, he said, "Well, bring your little boy with you too." And then he convinced me to be his girlfriend. We dated long distance, and then he proposed 5 months later. We got married in June of 2010 in Cancun. So then we just decided to go ahead and try and have a baby right then, and got pregnant instantly. Had Lila August 2011, and then we had Ava February of 2014, and that completed our family.
We don't say be careful. Be dangerous.
Jeff is the spontaneous one, the adventurous one, and I'm more of a planner. Sometimes they convince me to go and be spontaneous and adventurous.
Good boy, Cruiser. That's a good boy.
We kind of complete each other, and it meshes well, and it works.
I think Dad's muscles are just so big, he ripped his shirt.
but it wasn't always like that.
I was told my whole life that I was born first for a reason. And my mom told me often I was meant to do great things. I was a natural born leader. People are following me. I just, at one point, was not leading them in a very good direction. I started drinking from a young age, started smoking pot when I was 14 years old. One of the challenging things was there were people that I knew that had reached a higher level of success than I ever had that smoked pot and drank. So it continued to be this justification that I had that I can reach the level that I want to and still be able to use these things in my life.
The first time I noticed that Jefferson had a problem with drinking was a couple years into our marriage.
But I had bottles of alcohol hidden all over the house. I had weed brownies. I was smoking the vape pens. I was rolling joints. I was doing most of all this stuff behind her back. So not only was I hiding stuff from her and deteriorating my health and staying inebriated all the time so I didn't have to deal with all the responsibility and the emotions of life, but it was taking a big toll on our relationship because it wasn't something that I was proud of.
The arguing was pointless and endless if he was drinking. So I would avoid it.
The drugs and alcohol were causing some serious distraction in my life. I wasted a lot of time. It wasn't like I was actually out knocking doors the entire time I was out there. I was out spending a lot of time just sitting in my car or going to a gas station or finding some type of distraction to actually keep me from my income producing activities. So I was gone a lot. And then when I would get home, I would be stressed out. You know, partially because it was a stressful job, but then also just because I had this weight on my shoulders that I wasn't doing the things that I was supposed to be doing. And instead of dealing with it, I'd go home and drink and smoke weed. In 2017, on my son's birthday, was one of the most memorable days in my life and probably always will be. My son was super excited about his birthday party. He invited all of his friends. He was turning 12 years old. The day before his birthday party, me and my brother had a little bit of partying to do ourselves, and we started early around 10 a.m., cracking open beers. It was an entire day of drinking. Led to getting in an argument with my wife, getting in a little argument where I ended up headbutting a guy, running from the police. All these things that were the most important to me, I was continuing to justify putting them in jeopardy so I could keep doing the same things. What haunted me over and over and over, every time I was making a decision that didn't align with the person that I knew I was capable of being.
Mean it in the nicest way. You might want to stay away from me, 'cause I'm a train wreck, a train wreck. I'm a train wreck.
I got my truck impounded that night, and the next morning we were supposed to be using that truck to take all the kids to the birthday party. I was so hungover that next day that I rode the Uber to the birthday party, but I was completely useless. And I remember being there, laying on the bench, but not much else. And just feeling so terrible about where I was at in my life, the shame and the guilt that led me to really start thinking about what I was doing moving forward. And the drugs and the alcohol was one of the biggest distractions keeping me from being a version of myself that I could be proud of.
That was probably the most mad I've ever been at him. I told him that it was just not the right environment for the kids to grow up in, and I wouldn't ever want to live that lifestyle or have my kids witness that lifestyle ever again. He realized he did have a problem, and he was ready to be done.
I was scared to death that I didn't have what it took to quit. I had to do something about it, and nobody was going to stop me.
I always kind of told him that you need to stop drinking. He would stop for a short time, but it wouldn't last long. So that's kind of why I knew when he told me I want to quit drinking, I knew that he meant it, because he never really fully committed before that. But I'll never put up with it again.
I had to come to terms with the work that it was going to take and all the people that I was going to have to separate myself from. It was kind of a lonely place. I didn't have a network of people that were doing quality things with their life. So I was starting fresh, and I had to go build it from the ground up. My marriage and my ability to live in the same house with my wife and kids was on the line. I was supposed to be out working one day, and I was sitting in my car instead. Ended up seeing an ad come across from Grant Cardone for a mentor program that he was doing. That mentor program I felt could really help me make a change in my life, being a part of something like that. It was an $1,100 investment. And before I called my wife to tell her what I was doing, I checked the bank account, and that's all we had left was $1,100. I called her, and one of the first things I said was, I'm about to spend the last $1,100 we have on a mentor program. Do you trust me? I was either gonna make the best of this, and I was gonna pull it off, or I was gonna lose it all.
November of 2017, I get involved with this mentor program that really resonated with me because it was something that Grant Cardone was putting on, and at that time in my life, with his story, overcoming addiction, it was like, man, I want that, I need that. That's the kind of story that I want to be able to tell. Led to this whole new regimen, which was start getting up early, start writing your goals down, start posting and come out of obscurity, get out of your comfort zone, start doing difficult things.
I just traded all those addictions and started pointing them in the direction of positivity and growth and personal development and business. At that time, it didn't matter to me to do anything else because I was so scared that I was going to relapse. 2 months later, I got sober. 2 months after I got sober, I started my business.
A lot of people meeting you would never know you struggled at all in the past because you bring positive energy. You just have a great attitude all the time, and you're always looking for the way forward. You're proving the point that's important for a lot of people to hear, which is no matter everything that's happened to you literally up until yesterday, you own tomorrow. Starting tomorrow, you can reboot. And you actually did that. And a lot of people need to hear that. And it's just amazing that you did that. And again, it reflects in the success of your business.
You know, windows, it didn't start out to be something that I loved. And I love it today because I found something inside of the window business that I could really get a lot of fulfillment out of, and that was like creating these success stories. Whether they're coming from the restaurant industry or the medical field or construction, they come in and see this band of brothers working together, and everybody that has their own little version of their success story coming to work for JKR Windows. And it's contagious.
The image of Jefferson, the idea of Jefferson is inspiring to these people because he set up this whole company so that we can grow. And then everybody gets better and we make more money. And that's Jefferson. That's his company. He's built that. He's spun the wheels on his own path and his own journey. He's seen the way to not do it. He's seen the way that does it. And he implements fearlessly. We're all moving together, and it turns out to be easier than you think.
So what I say is that we are a people development company, and we just so happen to sell windows. Some of us get so focused on trying to remember what to say that we forget to be ourselves.
Right. That's me, yeah.
I had that exact same problem for the longest time.
But then, with continued work and repetitions, eventually you made it to a point where you were competing for the top 3 coordinators in the company, which is incredible.
The company Jefferson has built is a very heartwarming company that makes you want to strive to be the best you can be and achieve every goal and dream you've ever had in your life.
There's so many things that we go through in our lives that could break us, and they do break a lot of people, and they use it as an excuse. But our ability to overcome those, to just point those things in a positive direction and use them as fuel to keep driving you forward. So you got to shift your thinking and start believing that there is a better version of yourself out there. And the only difference between where you are now and that better version of yourself is the work, the time, the experience that you got to do to get there.
The power of wanting to keep my marriage together led me to make all these decisions, to build a business, to get sober, to build the habits and be somebody with credibility and integrity. I did never want the common denominator to be me. I was willing to put in the work and become the version of myself that I promised her I was capable of being for her and for us.
I feel like I have an obligation to help and build belief in people. The same way that I had belief injected into me that it was possible. I didn't have to continue to go down this flipping path that was killing me and it was going to destroy everything in my life. But if I have an opportunity to help one person and have one testimonial, one incredible success story that fixed their marriage and got them out of destroying their life, it will be worth it.